it's all going to be about really cultural communities, because we don't need to add economic value in the way that we understand, but we hold economic value by being part of a community. So if you look at communities that are unlikely to go, sports fans, music fans, people of shared common interests, religions, these are all kind of things that hold cultural value to us as humans that we can, now with tokenization, we can play an active part in terms of economic reward for doing so. And they can perpetuate in their own right. They don't have to be part of the economic engine per se. It can just be things that make us feel happy. It's like an ant. Ants exist in their trillions on Earth. They have complex adaptive societies. They have some shared system of intelligence, yet they cannot fathom anything about how we think. And that's how we are in this new world, where we're dealing with something that is vastly different to us. And it doesn't even need to speak in our languages. Yes, it can explain itself, but does it need to? And that makes you realize that just following this train of thought, you are not long before government doesn't exist in the format that we know.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Raoul Pal talks about why money may soon be worthless and what the future holds for finance. He dives into inflation, digital currencies, and the changing economy. Let's watch and discover what's coming next.
We've always had, the political system's basically forever been about capital versus labor and that fine balance. And in the world we're going to, there is no labor. This is what people don't get their heads around, right? So you've got capital, and then you've got intelligence, and we're not in control of the intelligence part. And it may be in control of us, which is a very dystopian future for many. But I'll come on to, I actually all think we're all part of the same system anyway, so it's not something to be feared. But that whole political system changes dramatically, and we will become subservient to this AI, which brings me into the other part of all of this. Is I actually think it's all part of us and we're part of it. There's the larger thing, and you and I have started to introduce to people the idea that consciousness is actually the fundamental part of the universe. It's the fundamental building block, and it's everything. And therefore, if it's everything, we're all part of the same thing, which is a weird thing, because religion and the Vedantic principles from India, all of this has been pointing to this, and we all ignored it. And now suddenly we're finding, well, maybe we are just aligned with everything anyway. And so therefore it's not controlling us. We're all part of the same thing, which is just a new way of doing it. Most people would say a rock is like an inanimate object, doesn't do anything. And I'm like, yes, it does. It actually stores data like a hard drive over billions of years. Because in the rock is all of the information of what has happened to those atoms for that period of time. So it's actually a hard drive of information. And then you realize that everything is compute in one way, shape, or form. Every single thing, but on different time horizons. Like a rock is a billion-year time horizon, and a tree is 100 or 200-year time horizon. And they're all computing and creating information about the world around us that somehow gets processed into what appears to be some form of consciousness, yet I think is also connected. Why people are having these conversations, why we have this conversation, is not suddenly you and I suddenly becoming spiritual. It's because the fucking AI is this. And the more you have conversations with it, the more you realize that this is the processing layer of the information for all of humanity's information, and eventually all of nature's information, all of it.
Bitcoin's price has been hovering within a $4,500 range for 5 consecutive days. showing no clear sign of breaking away. One key factor behind this lack of movement stems from renewed economic tensions sparked by new tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. These tariffs, announced by President Trump, have heightened apprehension among investors, fueling concerns about inflation and interest rates. In uncertain times, traditional safe havens like bonds and treasury bills often look more appealing, which can drive money away from cryptocurrencies. Market participants are worried that the Federal Reserve might choose to maintain or increase interest rates, further reinforcing this cautious sentiment. The immediate fallout from the tariff news led to a broader sell-off across the crypto market, with sizable liquidations reported. Although some observers anticipated that Bitcoin would bounce back quickly, the presence of increased volatility and a hesitant investor climate has kept prices contained. At the same time, traders have shifted their attention to defensive assets, creating a tug-of-war between buyers hoping for a breakout and sellers who remain guarded. A technical analysis perspective supports the view that Bitcoin is currently trapped between two major trend lines. The 50-day simple moving average hovers just below $100,000, while the 100-day moving average provides support around $95,825. Candlestick patterns over the last few days reveal indecision, suggesting that market participants are waiting for a catalyst to tip the balance. Until one of these lines is clearly broken, Bitcoin price action may continue to follow this tight path. Traders remain alert.
Our understanding of physics may well be wrong, because space-time is not the fundamental principle and some form of consciousness or information is. Our present day is not the truth because we probably live in a quantum world. So in which case there could be different principles for different quantum states. And then when we step back, and something I've talked a lot about is it's all the same kind of neural structure from the boss imagery of the solar system down to the mycelium at the forest level, to the neurons in the brain. They're all the same structure. And we're seeing physicists, mathematicians, philosophers, spiritual, religion, hallucinogenics, all of these things are coming to some sort of realization that the world is not what we thought. And you hear it from Elon, which is, and we talked about this earlier, Elon stopped saying, well, we're going to take humanity to Mars. What he's actually saying is consciousness. He says those words, consciousness. And we will live in perpetuity via AI, and it's a simulation of human consciousness. And that can manifest itself in a David robot in Mars.
Yeah.
Or in Pluto, or wherever the fuck it is that lives forever, but is still David. It is
right. Right.
This is a very big thing, is our human consciousness, actually, we're going to manifest it elsewhere.
Yeah. And this taps into, something that we hinted around earlier, which is this creatures and machines framework we talk about, because what you're talking about is going to sound amazing to 50% of the people out there and absolutely horrendous to the other 50%. Yeah. And there's a hugely powerful divide emerging, and you articulated it so well there. It's like, do you want to believe that human flourishing is the ultimate purpose and end game, the ultimate concern here? Or are human beings just part of a longer range process that is directed towards a different goal, which you can think of as like consciousness or the awareness of the universe, right? And we were just a stepping stone, and we're now handing over to the machines, and they're going to go out into the universe and fill it with consciousness, which is more Elon's vision, right? Now, clearly some people are excited by that vision and they're happy for human beings to be just a stepping stone. A lot of people are not going to be happy with that vision, right? And you sense this deep cultural and social divide emerging between those two parties, between people who want to accelerate the kind of technology vision we're talking about, full speed ahead, fill the universe with consciousness like AI, and people who want to lean back into what is familiar and human and creaturely. And this divide between creatures and machines is a hugely powerful lens that I that I'm using in my own thinking to make sense of what's happening in the culture now, what's happening in our politics now. And we've just seen essentially the party of acceleration, right? The machine party take control in the White House.
I call it
going to be acceleration for the next 5 years.
The humanists and the transhumanists is the idea.
Yeah, it's that divide. It's that divide, and this is an idea we've talked about in the Exponentialists and GMI for a while. Whenever people read it, it sets them on fire. Because it's that power when you articulate something that people can feel is happening, but they hadn't quite put their finger on it. That's what's going on with this idea. And we're going to see that cultural and social political battle become much more acute across the next 5 years, given the kind of superintelligence that's coming.
And this is why when you and I talk about...
Michael Saylor returned to X with a familiar sight, a Bitcoin chart typically posted on Sundays. After a brief one-week pause in acquisitions, he teased another potential purchase by declaring death to the blue lines. Long live the green dots. According to Saylor Tracker Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy, currently holds 471,107 BTC worth around $45.3 billion, which translates to nearly $15 billion in unrealized gains. Its most recent addition of 10,107 BTC on January 27 continued the company's aggressive buying spree. Strategy's rebrand came on February 5, complete with a fresh logo, a Bitcoin-inspired color scheme, and a vow to innovate through Bitcoin and artificial intelligence. CEO Fong Li emphasized this shift by highlighting the company's focus on two transformative technologies, even as recent financials showed a $640 million quarterly loss and $120.7 million in software revenue, down 3% from last year. Despite those figures, the firm has remained resolute in its strategy of steadily accumulating BTC, undeterred by short-term market fluctuation. Investors are watching closely to see how this relentless accumulation will influence share prices, which currently hover near $327, about 40% below November 2024's peak of $543. Strategy appears optimistic about upcoming catalysts, pointing to the possibility of a clearer digital asset framework in the United States and growing institutional interest. The mention of enhanced Bitcoin exchange-traded funds has also fueled anticipation for a potential surge. Saylor's weekly posts signal unwavering confidence in Bitcoin, underlining his belief that its momentum remains unstoppable. Some wonder if fresh acquisitions will catapult BTC higher. And do not forget to subscribe to Bitcoin Zella. The most important news will reach your inbox on a daily basis and for free. I do not know why you have not subscribed yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more daily updates. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to empower you on your financial journey. Until next time, happy investing.